Hello, family. This is your friend Kenisha, and welcome to another episode of TNT Thursday. Boom! Where we are blowing it up around us, influencing and changing our world. Remember, change you, change the world. We want to make sure that we first start with ourselves, but then we affect and we influence for the better our families, our neighborhoods. We want to affect and influence our jobs, our city, this nation, and this world. So we're still on this series of thinking that leads to success. Last week we talked about you become what you think. And today we're going to talk about cultivate the garden of your mind. So we still have the same definition, the word, and that word is thinking. And let me read it to you. It says, the process of using one's mind to consider or reason about something using thought as rational or rational judgment. And then Melanie Carleroux said this, nurture your soul with positive thoughts and internal happiness will blossom before your very eyes. So I looked up some tips when it came to gardening, and here's some things that it said. It says that when you want to be a good gardener, you want to make sure that you give your plant the sun at least 6 hours a day of the sun. It needs light. It needs to be exposed to something heavy. It says that you should keep it, if you're gardening, make sure that you garden close to a water source. Why water? Because we have to water seeds and plants for them to grow. And it has to be consistent. And then it says start with great soil. It kind of sounds like the mind to me. Start with a great soil. And then, ooh, this one's good. Learn frost dates. So when you're planting, you want to know the seasons of when it's time to plant and when it's time not to. So just think about that for our own lives. Do we know those dates, those seasons of our lives when things get tough and when things maybe are not so tough? Consider. So we'll be coming again from our book, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. I love this book. It is wonderful. And if you don't have it, run out and buy it. Now, the one that I have, it's actually a classic, and one of my friends bought it for me. So you may not be able to find this one, but you sure can find one on Amazon. They have several. So we'll be coming from pages 17 and 18. It says, a man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. If no useful seeds are put into it, then an abundance of useless weed seeds will fall therein and will continue to produce after their kind. Just as a gardener cultivates his plot, keeping it free from weeds and growing the flowers and fruits which he requires, so may a man or woman tend the garden of his mind, weeding out all the wrong, useless, and impure thoughts, and cultivating toward perfection the flowers and fruits of right, useful, and pure thoughts. By pursuing this process, a man or woman sooner or later discovers that he's the master gardener of his soul, the director of his life. He also reveals within himself the laws of thought and understands with ever-increasing accuracy how the thought forces and mind elements operate in the shaping of his character, circumstances, and thinking. So as we cultivate the garden of our mind, let me ask you this. Are you cultivating or neglecting your mind? I remember I used to have a house that had a huge front yard. It was a bunch of sand. And when I did not cultivate that yard or neglect it, weeds sprouted everywhere. And then my next question is, are you intentionally planting useful seeds of thought or allowing weed seeds to implant into your mind? Something's going to grow there. We can't stop that. Is it useful seeds or weed seeds? And then, are you a master gardener and director of your mind? Or have you given up your control? If you've given it up, take it back. Garden your mind, steward your mind, cultivate your mind with good thoughts. And here's my charge. Be intentional about cultivating your mind so that we can live a life that leads to success. This is your friend Kenisha. I'm in this with you, family. I appreciate you. I love you. Have a great day.